I don't even know. I don't even know what I witnessed last night. I mean, it was truly mind blowing. And it's funny because at the end of the game, when LSU was trying to mount that last drive, right before they fumbled that snap, I literally tweeted to the football gods. I said, "Football gods, I have been a loyal and true servant for years. I need some shenanigans." And, well, like the old saying goes, right? Be careful what you ask for. Because I was granted said shenanigans, and it came in the most absurd of ways. First, you muff the punt, and it's like, that's not what I was talking about. Then they somehow fumble running a power toss on 3rd and 1 from the 1-yard line. You get the ball back. Those are the shenanigans I'm talking about. You get so lucky with the Mason Taylor big play there at the end where his knee comes down inbounds, but the ref called him out of bounds, so the clock doesn't run. They have to review it. You get a free play. You end up scoring a touchdown. Oh, my God. And then the football gods had one cruel, ironic twist waiting on me. As for the second time in the game, you get a kicked blocked in the exact same way. And it's unbelievable, man. So it's a bit. I do have a bit of the what's the old Pacino gambling movie? Maybe it's like Two for the Money or something with McConaughey. Where he's like, it's the losing. The losing reminds you that you're alive, right? I have like a little bit of that going on today. Like the emotion that I felt last night it's unreal. I don't know what else elicits that kind of emotion in me nowadays in terms of the swings going from being on cloud nine elated when Dre Jenkins catches that touchdown to then literally head in hands, face down on the ground about 30 seconds later. It was, it was, to go ahead and use my, it was truly a WTF moment. I mean, it was one of the wildest ends that I've ever seen in my entire life. And when we get into the game here, which we're about to do right now, I do want to preface this conversation with this. Is that right now, my take on Brian Kelly exists in two different states. Okay, I'm a member of the cult of Kelly. Even when we all know this through like Netflix documentaries, even when presented with direct evidence, it's impossible to make a cultist think that they are wrong. Okay, I am still long-term a believer in Brian Kelly, like for years even. But even like this season, this team will get markedly better. I am still a believer, but yes. I will objectively judge what you witnessed yesterday, and it was objectively a shit show. It was awful. It was an objectively awful performance. And I am awful man clown number one. I'm a clown. Honk my nose, call me bozo. Let me go freak out some kids at a birthday party, because I have never been more wrong about a game than I was about this one. And on every front, right? I thought LSU's D-line would be better than Florida State's offensive line by a bigger gap than the opposite would be true. Wrong. Florida State has 4 sacks. LSU has 2. Jane Daniels on the run all night long. I mean, we're talking about sacks with 3-man rushes in big moments. I thought if you forced the game on Jordan Travis, you would auto win. Well, you did that. You held the backs just 3.4 yards per carry, 38 carries, 132 yards. No back broke 50 yards. And yet, what did Travis do? He beat your ass, 20 of 32, 260 yards a year, 2 touchdowns, another 8 carries for 31 on the ground. Huge third down conversions consistently. Mm-hmm. And then more than anything, I thought this Brian Kelly staff represented a huge advantage over Mike Norvell and his staff. And again, wrong. Alex Atkins ran circles around, and again, I think it might have been Norvell play calling, whoever was calling the plays for Florida State, but Alex Atkins still designed the offense, right? They ran circles around Matt House for the majority of that game. LSU looked sloppy and undisciplined in every single phase of the game, which was the one thing you did not expect from a Kelly team. I mean, the one coach that followed him from Notre Dame was Brian Polian, and the special teams were a disaster. 2 muffed punts, 2 blocked kicks, unsportsmanlike conduct on tempo or on kickoff. The offense took way too long to get into tempo. Ollie Gay gets ejected for just an awful, awful targeted cheap shot. And then, Aaron, because I wasn't yet pleased, I wasn't enough of a clown yet. I wasn't wrong enough yet telling everybody on the radio and this show all last week that I placed the biggest bet of my life on LSU to cover. On Sunday, I handed out the literal worst same game parlay possible. Shout out FanDuel. And I hope nobody took it. I said take the LSU money line, the over, and a Kayshon Boutte touchdown. Three things that not just three things that didn't happen, but three things that aggressively did not happen. Like Kayshon Boutte's lack of production was a literal one of the main talking points of the game. It was awful. I am Brian Kelly in this game. I am awful. And despite all of it, you still had a chance to win the game, and you pissed down your leg. Yep. And the worst part is you got a freshman kicker, you got a new snapper, you got a new holder. That's where the problem should have come in. I thought the problems would be in the operation, and it was in the protection. The easiest of football plays. Just step down and get in the way. I mean, bro, I put some pictures in my Snap side piece when I get Aaron's take on it that you can maybe put up there from Seth Galina's Twitter from Pro Football Focus. But every single kick, it wasn't just on the two that got blocked. Every single kick, the left side let an inside rusher go. It's unbelievable. So, yes, Aaron, I am a clown. I am a clown honk honk. Watch me dance and be sad and make balloon animals. I do want to ask you this, though, and I'll get your take on the overall game. But what was your evaluation of Jayden Daniels? Because at first, people are very much, he was just one tuck and read, but he was under a lot of pressure. But if that's already what you're into and you're under pressure, it makes that worse. But then he finished very strong. What did you think about Jayden Daniels' performance?
You know where I'm at in the whole quarterback situation. I think right now it should be Garrett's opportunity to go out there and see what he can do. You know, your best players, and they hit it a bajillion times on the broadcast last night. And I'm kind of the same way. Like, you look at the strength of your offense, and it sucks because the weakness of your offense is the offensive line. So you kind of need a guy that's a little bit more mobile. But it's not like Garrett Nussmeier is a statue. It's not like that's why Miles Brennan was essentially the third quarterback on that roster, because Miles was a guy that sat in the pocket. He wasn't going to run and might have had the best arm and most accurate. But if he can't get out of there and the offensive line can't protect, he's going to be in trouble. Garrett was kind of the guy that's in between, has the better arm than Jayden, not as fast as him, but is able to get the ball to your receivers more consistently. So he's not going to be a statue. He can evade the rush, and he can throw the ball better. And then that goes to your strength of your offense. What is your strength? It is your receivers. It is Kayshon and Malik and Jure and Jack Bash and those guys. Can you find a quarterback just to get the ball in their hands consistently, and someone who's athletic enough to compensate the lack of protection from the offensive line? I thought Garrett was that happy medium. Like I said, he could do both. Jayden is really the one. He's more of a one read. Let me get out of there. I know it looked good. I know it saved them at times yesterday, but I think going forward as an offense, if you're going to want to grow, you're going to have to trust the offense line a little bit, or you're just going to have more protection. You're going to have to keep a tight end in. Yeah. You're going to have a back chip out in route, because if you have those three receivers, I take them in those matchups more often than not. You just need a quarterback that can get them the ball. So, I applaud Jayden. I thought he got better throughout the game. Obviously, he played extremely well there in the fourth quarter. But going forward for Brian Kelly, I think he needs to reevaluate what this offense is going to look like. And in more crazy news too, a lot of people are talking about this whole Kayshon thing. Kayshon was not interested at all last night. From early on the game to when he had the skinny post that went right off his chest, that he was more looking at the safety and afraid to get hit. One, he had a short cross, and yes, Jayden was late to hit him. Probably should have hit him earlier, would have had an opportunity to get some yak, and who knows what would have happened, but he still should have caught that ball. It just, he had an off night. He did not look like he wanted to be there. So, he took down all of his pictures, I believe, on Instagram that had anything to do with LSU. Yeah. People are worried.
I think he just deleted all of them. He deleted all of his posts on Instagram. Him and Malik Neighbors did as well. They both did. I don't know if it's like to try to kind of like
come together. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to me, nothing more fun in 2022 than reading through cryptic social media actions. I imagine that those kids are catching hell right now on those sites, right? And so it might be a way of calming down their notifications or kind of getting the, just maybe just kind of quieting the noise maybe a little bit. Pinky's in the chat says Kayshawn looked so checked out mentally. Yeah, man, that's like to play body language detective. Yeah, man, it was BBL. It was bad body language from him. As not, it started out fine. He almost caught the touchdown on the opening drive, barely got broken up at the end. But when you were like 2 quarters in, and I think the receivers had 1 catch, you could see the frustration
mounting. In the fourth quarter. Yeah. And I do feel bad for Malik too, because I mean, Malik has been everything that you're reading has been having such a great camp, had a great spring, summer, fall camp has been like, everyone's excited to see what he can do. And then he muffs those 2 punts. And, it was good to see him make a couple catches there on that last drive to get him to that 1-score game or 1-point game before the blocked field goal. But I want to go back to your cultist mentality around Brian Kelly. I'm with you. I think, and I've said it for a long time, I think Brian Kelly is one of the best coaches and one of the premier coaches in college football. It's week 1. And I know we love to overact. I know the media loves to overact. I know it was sloppy, but it was week 1 with a lot of new faces, a lot of new schemes, going against maybe perhaps a better FSU team than we thought. I think let's once again, let's give FSU some
line
credit.
Looked pretty strong, dude. Yeah.
They looked pretty good. So, I'm going to give them some credit. I'm going to give Jordan Travis. I'm going to give him some more love later in the show, but I'm with you. I thought he was trash. I was like, man, this quarterback's not good. How is this guy starting at a D1 school like FSU that has such a rich tradition, that has had first round draft pick quarterbacks, by far the best I've ever seen him play. And if he plays like that in the ACC and Florida State uses this game to catapult itself into the rest of the year, Florida State's all of a sudden looking to make a giant leap this year. So let's give them some props before we just start saying LSU is trash. LSU is the worst team in the West. LSU is this, LSU is that. Yes, there are things to work on. But when you look at the talent on that team, when you look at the playmakers they have, when you look at the fact that John Emery should and will be coming back in about 2 weeks after his suspension, when you look at there's still some question marks at the quarterback spot, but if it is Jaden, he got better throughout the game. He led a 99-yard touchdown drive to give your team an opportunity to go into the the overtime. Like, there's a lot of positives I take away from that game too for LSU. So I think they'll be fine. The one thing that kept showing up too, along with the lack of getting the receivers involved, was the third down. You think LSU, I think DBU, I think man-to-man coverage, I think blanketing receivers and contested balls. How many times did we see 3rd and 4 to 10 and receivers are wide open, where they're able to catch it, essentially be a 5-yard gap from the defender, and we're able to get some yak and make a couple guys miss and get the first down? I'm like, where's the man? Where's the press? Where's DBU that we're used to seeing in LSU? I think, to me, that was just as big of a concern as not getting the receivers involved throughout the football game.